A nice wind will just blow these away.
Yeah. So can we do something like to, you know, hold them in place then, the ones that are there, or is it just...
That looks good.
Okay.
I don't know how much, I really don't know how much we should try to keep him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they don't want to, it's their time to come off. I'm surprised this lasted this long.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah. I like your idea about taking that down.
Yeah.
All high, or is there another
It's all,
string?
it's hide. All right. What's going to happen is, like, these are really loose. We'll have to paint them first, let it dry, and then put the rawhide, because it's scarily loose.
Yeah.
And that'll keep it together. Because I think what's going to happen is eventually these will come down. That'll be a big year for us.
That's a big year. Yeah.
When they get pulled down, and we have to talk about what will happen to these posts. You know, because that'll be a big thing for me.
Yeah, the reuse of them.
The reuse, that's huge right now. And well, we talked about that in my work, right? All of the recycled stuff, and what are we doing with this material? Careful!
So would you like them to stay here, Nora? I mean, in terms of their reuse, is it something that you want? Are you thinking? Is it something that stays in DC, or?
Well, they're from DC.
Okay.
So I think they should stay in DC. But I don't. That's just something that we need to talk about as a group. What we're going to do with them.
Yeah.
They could be used for wood.
It'd be nice to turn them into a bench so people could just sit down and enjoy looking at
Yeah,
them.
something wonderful like that. That would be great. So what I'm doing is I'm allowing the cracks to tell me where to start and stop with taking this off. And then from there, I'm going to sand it after I take off a lot of the sort of areas that are going to come off anyway, like that. And from there I'll make it easier for the balls that are hidden underneath here to start showing themselves. A lot of designing this pieces originally came from just an intuitive place, so that most of it was planned, but some of the detailed designs were serendipitous, and so I'm following that same idea where the lines and the curves allow themselves to shine, and I'm just the person who helps them come out. And I think that way of creating for me really comes from the culture I come from. software more into it than pre-designed. I like this line. In New Mexico, you see all of these homes that are old, 100, 200 years old, and they have the most beautiful weathering process happening to them because they're adobe. And you can see the lines coming out after hundreds of years being left out to weatherize. And I'm sort of following that same inspiration where the artist or the person working with the piece then becomes part of the process of creating with the environment. And for me, that's really, that's very cool. When you look at some of the houses, they're simple and they're very organic, but they're just so incredibly beautiful and well made. And a lot of them, like in some of the pueblos, a lot of the older part of the villages have sort of been left to just crumble back into the ground because some of the pottery that they used to make long time ago, when the pottery was used for utilitarian purposes and it cracked or something happened to it, then they would just put them outside and they were just allowed to fall back into the earth. And the homes are the same way. But in that process, I think I'm really inspired by how that happens, why that happens, how long does it take, and what shapes and forms come out of that. I think in that way I'm using cultural information and knowledge and creating with that in a contemporary setting. To be perfectly honest, I can't wait for that other bamboo to fall off. Because then we'll get to paint it, the poles, right?
Right.
Then it'll have a different meaning completely. Because now we're looking at the last remnants of a time, a period of time.
That's really true. But it's still so sharp and
That you
happy,
can't
so
take.
yeah, it's like it's telling us it wants another season. you
Yeah.
know?
This moon pattern correlates to that moon pattern on the sidewalk. When I initially came to do a site visit for this project, I noticed that almost immediately. And so I remembered that. These are clay balls that are made from micaceous and Santa Clara clay from New Mexico. And so I brought them here. A lot of little details have been brought from New Mexico. There's a viga that was cut by my dad like 65 years ago that's planted in one of the pieces. And so that it does really become about family. And that's why I'm thinking today and telling the conservators that if they're remembering their family or if they're wanting to honor their family, that circle would be a good time to paint for somebody they know or that has gone on. You can start to see how the water drips from the tree where it hits the top of Beyonce or this piece and flows down the pattern that it takes. And you can start to see how this piece will start to erode and reconfigure after a while. And that gives me indication every single time what I have to think about for the next time. So if you have anybody that you don't have any more here, or you want to remember somebody, your family, somebody, somewhere, please do that today with your circle. I think this is why people do ceremony, because this is like the ceremony right now. I mean, the world is passing by. We might get nuked by North Korea, but there's still this sense of ceremony happening on this little plot.
Exactly.
And I love that. The lines are real randomly chosen, but they're all fitting together so perfectly. If there's more than one person, go for it. I really like it from this angle. This one pole just full of these rings of people. I'm so proud of us. I noticed it from across the street and I was very impressed.